he has done or is doing. This is a dangerous precedence and an unnecessary distraction to the government. Nobody must be allowed to hide under a thank you tour to advance their premature presidential ambition. It's intolerable, and the chairman must be bluntly told. So, this thank you tour is creating some controversy within the party because there's one thing that I have avoided talking about because I think this is premature, but you can sense, and I have been doing this for long enough to be able to tell. Nobody can tell me it's not what is happening. I can see that there's a premature race that's ongoing for who replaces Mahama. Nobody can tell me that's not what is going on. We can all see. Just that we decided not to talk about it. We've been doing this long enough. They can disrespect. They can think that we are not as good as the people, but we know what we see. We've been following politics long enough to see it. So that is the genesis of the matter. The matter is simple. That people see Mr. Johnson as Siri Nketia. That's one of those eyeing the flag bearership of the NDC. And so this move, to those who are watching, sounds like an early campaign. He's introducing himself around. So that's why Ras Mubarak has gone to write this nicely. There are others who also have an issue with it. Because the suggestion from people like Ras Mubarak is the flag bearer has already done that. And he's doing that. I'm not sure he's even completed. He's doing that. So why do you need to do a thank you tour? Nancy, I hear there's a response from somebody.
Yeah, I'm just seeing from the MP for Ohoi.
Oh, FO.
FO Walanyo Chekbo.
Honorable FO.
An attempt to, explain why it is okay for Jenna to go on a thank you tour and that. Okay, so let me just read what he wrote.
Okay.
Okay, so he's just addressing Ras Mubarak. So, dear comrade Ras Mubarak, I come in peace. If indeed the chairman is acting wrongly, why not petition the general secretary to suspend him? You and I know that the NDC is a democratic party, unless you think otherwise, my brother. Why was there no complaint when the chairman formed his campaign team and toured the country? Since when has a thank you tour become a cardinal sin in our party? What is wrong if the national chairman and his team return to the same people? I've lost it. Return to the same people they went to for vote, simply to express gratitude. Similarly, when Honorable Joseph Yamin and Mustafa Gbande recently embarked on a regional tour to thank constituency executives, no objections were reached. As a true party person, you should know that the party's work does not cease simply because our government is in power. No one has declared an intention to contest any election. If it is far too early for such divisions, let us not start what could divide us. In Hawaii, for instance, after my own thank you tour as MP, my chairman and the Council of Elders will also visit branch executives to thank them and take stock of development of the grassroots. So let me leave it because there's somebody on the line, right?
Yes. Well, so that's the member of parliament for Hohwe.
Yes.
FO Alanyo Chekbo.
Yeah.
Who is responding to Ras Mubarak, who's written it. In fact, he's written another one just now.
Ras Mubarak.
Further on that particular issue. And Dr. Jonathan Asante-Otri is a political analyst, joins us on the line. Doc, I just want you to listen to the latest that Ras Mubarak has written, and before we take your opinion. And Doc, this is Ras Mubarak in Luanda, Angola, who says, my brother, the indefatigable finance minister, Atoforsen led a campaign team. Should he also go on a thank you tour? Education Minister, Honorable Haruna led a team. Should he start a thank you tour? I was part of a team led by my uncle, Honorable Inusa Fuseni. Should my uncle Inusa start a thank you tour? On a personal level, I led my own team and spent days in places like Esujaman, Damongo, Tafo, Ablekuma Central, Ablekuma North, Ejisu, etc. I guess I should also reassemble my team and go on a thank you tour. You cannot argue your way out of that which is indefensible. You can organize party activities, outreach, etc., but you can't go on a thank you tour. It's an unnecessary distraction. If you don't get it, forget about it. That's Ras Mubarak. Doc, is there something to be worried about? Does he have a case?
Is this Senator?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I didn't even greet you.
Yeah, and to your listeners as well. So, can you repeat your question?
And I'm saying, I was asking, listening to Ras Mubarak, does he have a case that typically what is supposed to happen is that the candidate does the thank you tour, does the thank you tour, not the national chairman, especially when the candidate has the person who has emerged, the victorious candidate is now president, is already doing it. There's no need for the national chairman to do another one. He feels this is a covert way of campaigning.
Oh, that's interesting. Good morning once again to your good self and all those in the studio and your listeners as well. I have granted an interview on this with the Free FM in Techiman also just this morning. You see, when the MPP decided to go on a thank you tour, and I don't know if it was your platform or there were numerous platforms that I granted interviews to. I argue that it was linguistically inappropriate to say that you've lost an election and are going on a thank you tour. You could have either christened it Unity Tour or Apology Tour. And you know what happened to that particular thank you tour? It became shambolic, a source of disunity. The rest, they say, is history. If the chairman, who is an elected, national chairman of the NDC, intends to go on a thank you tour, I was thinking that it should have been at the time that he got elected, not when the NDC has produced a candidate that has won the elections. Because it will create a situation where people will be reading meanings into that. I have not heard him openly say that he wants to lead the party as the presidential candidate, because obviously it is a little too late to do so. That does not also stop him, as it were, to take the decision of wanting to go on a thank you tour. The point is that we do not know exactly what he's going to say, at a thank you tour. And so it will be like a prejudicial kind of thing, or we are concluding for him when in actual fact we do not know exactly what he intends to go and say. But that also does not stop us from reading meanings into whatever he intends to do. Because in an article that I have written, I said, I looked at verbal and non-verbal communication. And in actual fact, verbal communication in our communication constitutes about 10%. 90% is non-verbal. So you will allow many people to speculate exactly what you intend to go and do there or say. Now, that being said, Mr. Sidin Katil going on a thank you tour cannot meet the entirety of Ghanaians. He can only meet the executive of the party. And he may want to thank them for electing him. If he goes beyond that, then maybe people will have cause to query him or to complain about he jumping before, he leaves or walks. And there is also a potential, if what others have in mind is exactly what he goes out there to do, then it means that a Pandora box is most likely going to be open. And if you are not careful, things could even begin to become murkier than what we are seeing in the MPP. That being said, you see, the national chairman is an elected chairman of the party that finds itself in government. You could also see that, as far as his position is concerned, the president does not really have control over him because he's not his appointee. He's occupying an elected office. It is only when his conduct is unbecoming of what a national chairman should be, that is when probably the processes could be used against him. Then, on the same score, probably this is going to be the very first time that we are going to have a situation where a national chairman will want to lead the party to become president. That is where I don't want to speak to because he has not openly said so. So I don't want to speculate into that. But if I'm allowed to speculate into that, you see, I wouldn't want to talk about it now, Senna. Maybe when the cat is let loose out of the sack, that is when we may want to comment on that as to the advantages and disadvantages. Because a chairman is supposed to be an arbiter of the process to elect a presidential candidate. If he finds or decides to contest, will he resign his position as national chairman? Will he be inclined to do so? Because you cannot be a referee and a player at the same time. There is something morally missing there.
Interesting. So many things come to mind, but can an issue be raised against the national chairman of a party who's led the party, who's played a crucial role, the leader of the party, of course, the flag bearer, who is now president, who's played a crucial role in ensuring the party gets this historic victory, deciding to go around and say thank you, especially if it is to party people?
Well, I think nothing stops him from doing so. Nothing bars him because I think that it is in order. You see, wanting to encourage the national executives and thanking them, for working steadfastly to bring the party to power as a national chairman. It is in order. But it could also be more appropriate if he went with the general secretary in that direction and even everybody else at the national level in terms of those occupying national positions.
Well, many of those people have also got into government, but you think somebody like the general secretary, it should be done as a party move, not as the the national chairman alone?
Yes.
Oh.
That is if there isn't any other motivation behind that decision. But single-handedly doing so will allow people to speculate. I'm saying that nothing prevents him from doing so. It is good. You are going to keep the grassroots, working up and doing and thanking them. That is good. Obviously, when the president goes on a thank you tour, he will meet the ordinary Ghanaian. The executives along the line will be there from the national, regional, constituency branch, or what's it called? Okay, let's just say branch. The NDC's branch, the other MPP's polling station, or something like that. So the president will meet all of this. Will be able to meet even opinion leaders. The point is that when the elected president goes on a thank you tour, he meets those who did not vote for him and those who voted for him. Because he's now the president of Ghana, not the president of only those who voted for him. The national chairman was voted for by people who qualified to vote. So if he's going on a thank you tour, it cannot be him meeting generality. We don't have two presidents. He can only meet maybe those who will be delegates. Or beyond that, those who played active role in bringing the party to power, not the generality of the populace.
But can this be avoided? Because now we all know, obviously, because initially there were those who were speculating whether or not it's possible to perhaps amend the constitution to give President Mahama a shot at a third term among others. The president, he has told everybody that I will not be on the ballot in the next election. So which means he has no such intentions, meaning there will be a new candidate for the NDC. Already people are pointing fingers at the national chairman and all kinds of other people. can the NDC avoid this kind of suspicion, innuendos being cast at this time because of what is ahead of them? Can they avoid it in any way?
You see, Sana, I have said that there are only two things that can affect the NDC: the economy and transition. Now, if the president and his team, including the vice president, ministers, agric minister, finance, the chief of staff, education minister, all ministers that matter, if they are able to ensure that the economy stays far better than what they inherited, it means they are one step ahead of the MPP of securing the 2028 elections. The second one is the transition. That is what is about happening. I'm not a prophet, but people tell me that I am more than a prophet. You see, when the transition is not appropriately organized, it will not be any far worse than what is happening in the MPP. Because people may speculate that the transiting president, President Mahama, is probably on this person's side. It's probably on the other person's side. He's not on my side. Then it means I'll have to do things on my own to be able to gain the popularity, the acceptability, the confidence of the people who are going to be the kingmakers. Now, when that happens, others who have similar ambition will equally start. And then what will happen is that the government will lose focus, because everybody will want to outdo the other. But if they should sit and meet as matured as adults and say that, look, no matter what happens, all of us, only one person can be the president. Let us, in a mature way, don't undermine anybody. Let the best person lead, and all of us will support. It is better to be in government than to be in opposition.
Are you talking about a consensus candidate?
Certainly, the NDC is a Congress. You will see that there will be some kind of groundswell support for a particular candidate, and that will be so obvious, and they will congregate around him or her.
I see.
So, if the transition is not handled properly, it means you are giving more opportunity to the MPP to undo you, to unsettle you. And remember that they will do this far earlier than yours. And with time, though they would have destroyed themselves, with time they will be able to heal, because they may also become convinced that it is better to be in government than in opposition. If that understanding comes, then it means that they have one enemy or one opponent, that is the NDC. And they will be fueling the confusion that will be emerging within the party. They will be fanning it. And because some people's ego will be bruised, then you have to bear in mind that it means you have not handled the transition appropriately. And the consequences will be very dire.
And is those consequences that, so two things. One,
I have a meeting now.
okay. Then let me land with the last one. What do you expect from the national chairman, the general secretary, because he himself, his closest aide and confidant, has had to even issue a statement on Facebook disassociating him from claims that he wants to be national chairman. How should they behave so that this suspicion is not unnecessarily brewed and people in government having to come in and also try to perhaps boost their chances of winning, of also emerging flag bearer?
Please summarize your question.
So I'm asking how you expect the national chairman to behave, the general secretary to behave, so not to give wings to this kind of suspicions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you act within your mandate as the general secretary or as the national chairman of the party. In actual fact, the national chairman is not an officer of government. He's not a member of government. But to ensure that there is an interface between government and the party, the structures of the party give birth to the government. That is why they sit, at what's it called, cabinet, to ensure that the party is not isolated from whatever the government, is doing or is about to do. But other than that, these people are not officers of government. That being said, it means that if any of them will want to be a presidential candidate, they have an advantage because they can decide to show face. But that in itself could be disadvantageous or advantageous depending upon how they do it. And then if you have members of the party that are in government and they are appointees of the president, they cannot openly come out to say we want to be ABC, and when the party has not given that timetable for that to be done. So in as much as others may have their hands tied behind them, I think that even if the chairman of the party has that ambition, I think it should be done through the structures of the party and what the constitution also stipulates. Anything other than that could be a disadvantage for him or an advantage for him. It doesn't matter how, it is appropriate that, you play the game according to the rules of the game. Because if you don't, then people think that you are unduly taking advantage of your position because you cannot be sacked by the president. The party itself could also have structures that they may use against you. That is, if you are acting in a manner that is not in the interest of the unity of the party, and that in itself is a distraction of the focus of the party in government. I think in the end, your ambition may be a stumbling block for the entirety of the party and the government. And I don't think that if you come at such a crossroads, you will be the one gaining. I think you rather be the one losing.
Doc, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Jonathan Satiochi is a political scientist joining us on that. And Dr. Tony Edu makes that point abundantly in an interview we had with him yet to be aired to do. So I'll play that back for you again.
Not to win. But